and welcome to the Lotus Talks podcast. My name is Ava Gordon, and I'm your host, and I have the pleasure of being here today with Lucci White. Lucci is one of our featured speakers at the Lotus Talks live event, which will be held on November the 11th, 2023 at the Norris Convention Center. We like to always bring our speakers in to talk a little bit about their interest in attending the Lotus Talks live and presenting their unique perspective. So first of all, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Likewise. The Lotus Talks Live provides a global platform for speakers, diverse and marginalized speakers, to have a safe and sacred space to share their truth. What are some things that you would want our audience to know about you that make you have a unique perspective that you want to share with them on the stage?
Well, first and foremost, you making me feel safe. This is totally out of my comfort zone. I am absolutely not a camera person. So the fact that you have extended a platform for me to share my story that I think others may be able to relate to, and it may resonate with them in their growth process. I'm currently being stretched to do this. So this is also an experience, a learning experience for me. So as I try to teach others, I'm also learning myself.
You said you're being stretched and you're being asked to grow. Tell me a little bit about the advocates and the mentors that you have in your life that are not only challenging you, but giving you the platform and the opportunity to grow.
I'm so grateful to those specifically who have taken interest in my maturation process, my growth, and it's so important that you surround yourself with people that help you see you. Mm-hmm. And I've been fortunate enough to be in an environment with individuals like that. Sometimes we let our insecurities and inadequacies show up to situations, and it's always good to have those advocates in your corner, those cheerleaders for you, to help you reach your fullest potential. Mm-hmm. And not just stay in the background like I'm used to doing. Mm-hmm. So I'm so grateful for those individuals who have taken an interest in my growth in this journey with me.
So you said, I'm going to use a quote here. You said those individuals that help you see you.
Absolutely.
Tell me a little bit about what you see when you look in the mirror.
Well, now it's a different version of me than perhaps maybe even up to 2 years ago. It's a totally different version. Before, I've always seen someone of strength, a fighter, but not necessarily because I want to be, but I've always had to be. And then as you grow to the next level, it's something that you have to constantly practice. But now, like I said, having those people in your corner and having that constant coach behind you, I'm able to see that it is possible for me to walk in my full potential and my full purpose. Mm-hmm. And just knowing that you have that support to get there is everything. It's everything. So now I see someone who is able and capable and possible to actually doing the things that I make up in my head. Mm-hmm. Actually being that superhero that I envision myself to be. I can actually put effort towards going there and knowing that it's okay to mess up.
So I know from our previous conversations that you love, I think it's Marvel.
All things Marvel.
All things Marvel. So when we think about being that superhero, tell me, if you were a superhero, what would be the superpowers that you possess?
Mind reading.
Uh-oh.
My mind reading. Uh-huh. My favorite. Well, I have a few favorites, and depending on which day you ask me, I may have a different favorite one. But typically, my go-to is Iron Man because he's such an intellectual giant. It's a little arrogant too, but he's an intellectual giant. So mine would definitely be to tap into the mind of others. I'm a very observant person, so I like to hear what people are saying and what they're not saying, but I would actually like to know instead of just assume.
Hmm. So, because you want to know instead of assume, how have questioning and uncomfortable conversations played a role in your growth and development, or has it?
Absolutely. I am one that, even though I'm a bit antisocial, I do when I engage with people, or even if I'm in a room with other people, I like to, like I said, observe not only the verbal communication, but the nonverbal communication, the body language. I like to see people show me who they are, if they're being authentic with me, because then that lets me know how I can be with them, how comfortable I can get with them. If I feel like that they're reserved and or showing me a representative of themselves, then I typically don't give them everything that I have. We don't focus enough on relational intelligence. That's one of the things that I hone in on the most, because at the end of the day, you don't go to the next level, you grow to the next level. And you have to have individuals of like mind with you. So since I feel like I'm just now getting to this stage in my life, I feel like maybe I'm a bit behind. So I don't really have time to waste with individuals who don't add unique value to not where I am, but where I'm going.
Lucky, November the 11th is Veterans Day, and it also is the day that we're hosting our inaugural event for the Lotus Talks Live. And we want to make sure that we recognize the contributions of those that have served our country so well. My understanding that you served in the U.S. Navy. Can you tell me how that experience shaped your life?
One of the key things is um, learning how to take instruction that I may not necessarily understand the full scope of it. I was a bit of a hardhead growing up. I think my favorite word was why. So I always wanted to know why I needed to do something, or why I was being given this instruction, or it was never a just you tell me and I run with it. Um, but in the military, you don't really have that option, and it's really unimportant as to why. It's more of what we instruct you to do. And even after military life, when I became a civilian, I didn't even realize that I had actually taken on that skill, and it was transferable to becoming a civilian, because you don't always know, especially when you're starting at the bottom of the food chain. You don't now always necessarily know the full scope of why you're being asked to do something. But in that same regard, as I became a leader, I started to just because that I learned that skill and I made benefit of it, especially these days that we're growing up in now. The why is so important. So I kind of flipped it, and I'm always giving the why when it's now in respect of what I can, the information that I can divulge with junior employees or junior associates. Um, the why is critical, and not only that, it also helps them to understand the role that they play in the bigger picture. Builds motivation and morale, and when you understand what you're doing, it helps you make better decisions. um, and not feeling like just another number or a robot, or that we actually are involving you in the decision, and your role actually plays a part in the wider scope.
So I heard two things: discipline,
Absolutely.
respect for, well, I heard three things: discipline, respect for authority, and context.
Yes, and the discipline, I didn't necessarily have so much. It did help my discipline. It helped discipline me in certain areas that I lacked discipline. Um, I wasn't a real knucklehead when I got in, but it shaped me. it polished some of those areas that needed tweaking, like the always needing to know why aspect.
Yeah.
Yeah, it helped.
Yeah. One of the concepts that we talked about is that your advocates don't necessarily look like you, talk like you, or have the same experience. Can you share with me how, I'm going to call it, non-traditional advocates have created a path forward for you, or to help you to define the path forward?
I think the fact that, and if I'm being honest, none of my advocates look like me, share the same background as me, um, and on the surface would seem to be polar opposite of me. But I think that's what made me have a greater appreciation, because I don't look like them. I don't come from their background. Even some of the things that, or some of the experience that I may have, they may not even understand. But the fact that apparently there's something in my character that has drawn me to them, and vice versa. So it's I'm very, very grateful for those that have um, chosen to either take me under their wing or give me advice, or coach me through situations. And there are three in particular, especially in my career in the water and wastewater business, that have really been quintessential for my growth. And it's been in different stages and different phases, and it hasn't always been. Um, we've put it this way: we've had our disagreements before, and how I've handled those relationships, and in turn how they've handled those relationships or those disagreements. Um, it was steady growing me, and continually making me feel like my opinion matters. They respect how I feel about something. They know that I respect how they feel about something. And at the end of the day, we have a common goal, and that's to continue to grow me to the next level.
And that's really what we aspire for in the Lotus Talks. The idea is that people can share their story and their perspective from a healed place. This allows for those that are listening to understand and to develop compassion. And we believe that once you have compassion, there's an opportunity to build partnership. And what you defined right here is really that progression. So thank you so much for sharing those thoughts as it relates to advocacy, growth, development, and I'm going to call it partnership.